Children's Museum. Today we're going to look at seed saving. Seed saving is a really important thing to do if you like to garden or if you like native prairies and natural areas. It promotes biodiversity, it helps with environmental stewardship, it helps with your food supply if you're saving food seeds. And whatever seeds you're saving, you know that they'll grow well in the place you're going to plant them the next year because you already grew them in those ecosystems and soil. So when I save seeds, I save all different kinds. I like to save fruit, vegetable, native prairie flowers, and then I use them for all of the programming at the Madison Children's Museum. So people who visit the museum can then have those seeds to bring home and plant their own gardens. We're going to start by looking at some of the different kinds of seeds we save here. We're going to cut them down, and then we'll look at how you can save them through the winter so that they can be planted next year. So we're going to start right here. I have beans that are growing on the fence, and some of my beans I pick and I use for food programs with visitors at the museum, but some of everything that I grow, I let grow to seed. So if you're ever up here and you see things that look like they might be dying, they're really things we're saving for seeds. So some of these pods are getting dried out. I'm going to pick these, and I have different kinds of beans. I have purple bush beans, I have pinto beans, and these, when you know they're ready, they're actually kind of crispy when you squeeze them. And we're going to go down a little bit more here. And on this vine, I have scarlet runner beans, and I'm going to pick a couple of these. These will all look different in the insides. So when you're saving any kind of vegetable, when you want to eat the vegetable, you'll pick it when it's ripe and ready. If you're saving it for seed stock, you want it to go beyond that ready point, and that's when the seeds are viable. We're also going to go over and pick a few flower heads. So right up over here, I have some native prairie flowers. Now the ones that still have petals on them that look like they're alive, those ones aren't ready to save. But these ones that have turned brown, and this happens a lot in fall to all different kinds of flowers, you can take scissors and you can snip off. And when you snip those off, you can leave them out to dry. And these are actually the seeds on the flower head that then you can put into a native prairie mix. Now that we've looked at collecting seeds and we've collected a bunch, let's see how we can save them. Usually we save seeds with visitors on the rooftop. This is something we do all fall. We collect seed pods of all different sorts and give children and families sort them into seeds and label them and put them in seed packets to bring home and to leave here so we could replant the following year. So right here I have some beans that we collected. And to save the bean seeds, you take your bean pod, you open it up, and you get all those seeds. And here's some different kinds of beans that we just collected. The beans dry out, and you'll want to store them in a container in a cool, dry place all winter, and they'll be ready to plant in the spring. We store ours in a container that's outside. Now I have a few different kinds of seeds that we've collected. We have some flower heads. These are the flower heads that we snipped. And you can walk around and snip all different kinds of flower heads in the fall. When you're ready to collect the seed, what you do is you take the flower head and you break it apart, and it's all these parts that are the seed. And you can put them in native prairie seed mixes and spread them in different places in the springtime, and they'll grow. I also here have a sunflower. Now sunflowers are really fun to grow. I like to grow them for the wildlife because the birds like to eat them, and we get a lot of birds on our rooftop. We're a great urban habitat for birds. Now when the sunflower starts to die off, that's when you can cut it for the seed. And it still looks like there's something there. But watch, as I break off this yellow part, I actually get to the sunflower seed. And then when I break the sunflower apart, these are the seeds inside. Some of the seeds I'll save for planting, and some I'll feed to the birds that are out. I even have some birds right here. I might throw some seeds too. Let's see, when you're hiking in the fall, there's also, you'll find a lot of milkweed. Milkweed is good for butterflies and pollinators. Collecting those seed pods are one of my favorites. You'll see these on the end of the milkweed. When you open it up, you'll get this on the inside. And these are the milkweed seeds that can fly away in the wind. These you can also store in a cool place and replant in the spring. A couple of my favorite seeds to save are from different herbs that I grow. If you grow cilantro in your garden, The seeds that come off cilantro are called coriander, and you actually use them in cooking. They look a lot like this. They're little round. You can cook with them, or you can use them to replant your cilantro. So I let these dry off, and then I just pick the seeds. Whenever I save seeds, another thing I like to do is I have either a baggie or a seed envelope. And I like to label what type of seed is in there and the year. So here's one where I just collected some lovage seeds. So that way, once it's spring again and I'm ready to plant, I know everything and what year it came from. Because sometimes seeds are only viable for a couple years, so I always want to use my oldest seeds first and hope that they work, and otherwise I have fresh ones every year to use. We're going to look now at some more garden seeds that you can save. I've brought a squash and a tomato. The tomato that I brought is a space tomato. These were grown at a space station. NASA sent them to me, and I was able to grow them on the rooftop all summer. Now that these did so well, I would like to save the seeds because I know they're good for our soil conditions and grow them again next year. So to save seeds from a garden, you want things to go a little bit beyond ripe. They're not the ones that you want to pick to eat. You let them grow a little longer. So this patty pan squash that I have, I let get bigger than I would have when I ate it. The first thing I'm going to do is cut it. Now these cutters are my favorite because children can use them and they're not sharp on the end, but they cut through things. So I'm going to cut this squash open, and inside are the seeds that I can save. I'm going to pull out these seeds, and you can do this with pumpkins in the fall, acorn squash, butternut squash, any kind of squash that you grew that you know is not a hybrid. You can save the seeds to replant. So these ones are all ready. I'll let them dry out. When they're dried out, I'll put them in a labeled seed packet, again in a cool, dry place, and they'll be ready to plant next year. Now I'm going to cut this tomato open. And inside this tomato, let's see, are some tiny seeds. These ones are harder to see, so I like to put tomato seeds on a paper towel. So I'm going to break these seeds off. They're really little. I'm going to spread them out on my paper towel, and I'm going to let them dry out. And then again, I'll put them in a seed packet. And these ones are a little harder to dig up. Some tomatoes have a lot of seeds, some have a little. I'll let them dry out on the paper towel, and then I'll put them in a seed packet. One of my favorite garden seeds to save are lettuce seeds in the fall. If you grow lettuce, pick some of your lettuce, but leave some. Let it go to seed, and that seed will have little white stuff that looks like it flies in the wind. When you get all of that on the seed, shake it down into your garden, rake it in, and you will have the first lettuce of the springtime. Thank you for saving seeds. I hope that you continue to save seeds at home because it's good for the earth and the environment and your food supply, and enjoy your day.